Hello everyone, Busy Gamer Dad back again for a session gameplay series where we pick up a game that I think you guys would really like and we discover it together over about 3 episodes that are 20-30 minute long episodes. This week I thought I'd bring you guys Roadwarden. This game is wonderfully, we'll say nostalgic for me because the art style and the game mechanics of reading this game and being invested in the dialogue and seeing those subtle nuances in the text harkens back to my childhood and learning how to play video games and the early days of video games for me with the Mac and the DOS-based games that I grew up with as a kid. And I can't tell you how much I enjoyed playing this game, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Even though we have 20 to 30 minutes, if you guys let me know maybe if you want to do a long play of this, I'll be glad to do a couple more videos. I'm definitely down for playing this. This is one of my favorite games that I've recently acquired. It's not going to be for everyone, full disclaimer. There's a certain level of reading that's involved and a certain level of context cues and basis that you have to have a little bit of an investment in understanding and reading. This is almost like akin to a D&D kind of game, actually, where you've got to, maybe take notes on the side so you remember certain characters and what they're looking for and those subtle nuances that you have to have some level of investment in progressing the story or seeing a quest through, and that really appeals to me. But again, that's not going to appeal to everybody. I want to make sure that I also show you guys this at the beginning of every playthrough, because every playthrough or every time I open up this game, there's a fortune cookie type of statement or proverb here, and these are also really well written, and I have to stop and ponder every time I read these. Each traveler sees with different eyes. Sometimes there are a few lines, sometimes there's just one, but I love them. Whoever did the idea of this, hats off to you. I love it. It already brings me into the game. So I already have a game going, or I should say another game going, but I'm going to bring all you guys along on a new game. And I want to, stress that this game it's going to be hard. You're not probably going to have success if you don't pay attention and pick the right level set for you guys. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Road wardens not only accept this struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. My body is ready. I leave the safety of the city walls. So this is what I'm talking about. If you don't know if you want to invest, say, a heap of amount of attention to this game, casual mode. It's right there for you. It's perfect. There's no time limit. You start off with a little extra money, and some of the side quests actually have some forgiveness mechanics and are a little bit easier for you to navigate through. Standard is for those who are from my era, probably. It's more targeted towards that, where you have an investment with the game and you understand the RPG mechanics, or someone who's played D&D, someone who has played visual novels before and has a good understanding of what we'll say emotional cues for the words mean, and you have a certain engagement and interest in them. And the time limit. This is a stickler. If you're not careful with your time limit, you will fail your game. And that's, again, the hard rule. And this is one of those games that I like because it has a hard fail mechanic built into what you choose right out of the start. So you know exactly what you're getting into. And this has just a regular rule set for you to play with. And I've not played the restricted. I don't want to, we'll say, diminish the fun that I have with going through the game on a standard mode and picking, we'll say, certain paths and certain things. I'd rather explore it more in this, we'll say, nicer setting than the restrictive setting. So let's jump into the game. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You are supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labor. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. If you keep away the goblins and peddlers, but not it may keep away the goblins and peddlers, but not beast folk nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. Just look for another. And so this is the game. Right into it. This is the game. There's no tutorial. There's no hand holding, you are in the game right now. So I want to look around cautiously, get off my and briskly. I'll be cautious. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which gets denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only routes north. So these are the immersive qualities that you want to start looking for in your game, and reading these texts. Whoever did the writing, or the team that did this writing, they did a phenomenal job. I'm going to dismount and sneak in too. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of a long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bring your back and your knees comfort. All you want is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. And that is very true. Approach the gate slowly. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. 2 people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbor. I could just look for another shelter. They keep on pushing this option, but we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to do this. They don't look like much of a threat. I can enter. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes. His beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace with a head covered in iron hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson. Yeah. But hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven, as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes were wary yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half ago, these 2 surely look the part, though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. This was actually a big thing in medieval times, in the frontiers days, even in the United States, that women would actually shave their heads to stop lice and other critters from growing in their long hair. And they would wear wigs or put their hair up in bonnets and things. It was only the very wealthy that had the ability to shower and keep themselves rid of all those nasty critters and things like that. So this is also historically accurate. Let them speak first. I asked about their lieutenant. I will be cautious. It's nice to see an unharmed traveler in this godforsaken shithole. Again, not for kids, I should say. It's not for the faint of heart. If you don't know what you're doing, or you're new to this type of game, this is a good one to cut your teeth on for sure, but it's very unforgiving and very assertive with some of its dialogue. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong yet timid. You'll be staying the night with us, I guess? We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armored woman. Her moment twitches from half asleep to relaxed. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, that'd be a huge help. Travelers ought to help each other out, wouldn't you say? You think for a moment. To fully rest would be you'd need a good night's sleep. I will say sure. I will do that. I will help out. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. Don't remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours between midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I'll ask about the lieutenant. You wonder how to phrase your question. So this is a common mechanic in this game where you can essentially choose your own adventure, very much like any of the other choose your dialogue option games that you may have played or seen, where you can be, friendly, or you can be stern and intimidating, or you can be vulnerable or distant. I have played this game a little bit to understand all the different nuances of each of these, and I will do my best to navigate in a, we'll say, a neutral fashion based on my knowledge of the game, as to not, direct you down to one specific play path, because you should really explore this game, and this game actually encourages you to do that with the attitudes of your characters and the characters you're actually interacting with. You have to remember, almost like you're forming a relationship with a real person. So I'm going to say cordial and friendly. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk a bit? So that's how I phrased the question. The woman lets out a sigh, dusts off her gamison, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can. You and I, though holding this rank, is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Are you looking for help? And then this is our new road warden. My horse is outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreamt of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. And then I shake it. And then this is the default name, Lido. Or if you say Leto, it's up to you. I say Lido, but I mean, you could say that it's Leto. Her grasp is confident, the shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents. She steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. Ah, there's one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We have no tents to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. No problem. I should get used to observing the stars. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans can ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but it's also bulky. As heavy as it is strong, you can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. So there is a lot of lore in this game, and thankfully they have an archive for you to reference if you ever feel you are getting overwhelmed with things or forget what certain things are or do or where you're at in the game. And that's another thing we look for with our session gameplays, is something that allows us to pick up where we left off with a good bookmark, as it were. It's not only my companion, I want it to feel at ease. So this is, you need to have a good bond with your horse, I think, as I've understood it, and that's, I think, in general too. You don't want to pamper it too much, but like in the frontiers days, the cowboy days, people always seem to frown upon a cowboy getting too friendly with their horse because they, it's deemed the beast of burden, as it were, and you would supposedly and hopefully outlive your horse. And if you were too soft on it, you may grow attached to it and not make the right choice for your survival over the horse's survival, which is weird in a way, because you want your horse to survive so you can survive, because it would travel long distances and ferry you to the next town in the frontier days. So it was a weird duality that you had to balance. It takes a few steps towards you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck with strength and confidence, just the way it likes. Humans see useful animals, even pets, as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionships. So right there, the team that did the dialogue and the research for this knows what they're talking about, where it was very frowned upon to get overly attached to your animals, even pets. Speak gently to it and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. While riding, the equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, but with enough time, it starts to chafe. You wish it had something better to eat than this shabby grass. You should look for an inn. Need to unpack. You haven't brought that many things, and you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left, but maybe the soldiers could spare one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade. So this is where you're picking your role. I'm not going to say anything about them other than you can learn more about them, and this doesn't affect anything. So it gives you quite a big wall of text here, and I'll let you guys, pause the video if you really want to read this for yourselves. It's there for you to pick if you want to, but basically your fighter is your standard fighter, better, more equipped for physical tasks and challenges. Your mage is better at obviously intellectual things and can detect magic in mysterious areas, but can also talk with other magic users in the common tongue. And then your scholar is not necessarily good at proficient at either, but they know subtle nuances and can read between the lines in dialogue options, and they have better, we'll say, interactions with people, and you can gain access to alchemic mixtures with this character. So up to you which way you want to go. I'm not going to say anything more than that. I'm just going to pick the de facto, I'll be a fighter just for this session gameplay. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced. The spare clothes are still here, just in case. You take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife, nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. So in our inventory, this is where we get our loadout, as it were. As you saw, the inventory just came up. Unless you're occupied with another task, you can eat food, drink potions, etc., and use items within this here. And then you can mouse over these for what they look like and understand what they are. And then the archive here and the journal are where I was talking about for your lore mechanics and your understanding of what we'll say definitions are in the game. Taking hits with your armor will damage your armor. You can then fix it at various settlements. Return to the soldiers. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting amongst themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You sit down on the tree log. Join them and take a look at the meal. Thank them for the meal, but don't want to eat with them. I sit down and ask Tulia what she can tell me about the area. I ignore the meal completely and sit down. I'm going to join them and I'm going to eat the meal. Because you know what? I've had a busy day riding. I need some food. I'm sure that my belly and my horse are all going to be all the better when I'm in a good mood. So, just going to say that. Keeping your stomach full makes you stronger. Starvation won't allow you to restore your vitality. These points right here. While you're resting. You can find supplies in your inventory. It's cold gruel. The meat eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog mullet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to the other, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlements stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. Eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak to Tulia. She focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to and less than I should. She nods toward the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of the summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears. We're also strangers in this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward, his legs shaking nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more tale, tell a joke, or do a magic trick, whatever it takes to escape from boredom. He's His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. What I've discussed with the officials should stay between me and them. So I'm gonna take a step back, and while I was friendly with them before, I think I'm gonna say that I will keep it between them and myself, my employer and myself. You think how unprepared you are for this task, since this area is too far away from Havlavan to keep it under control. You were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villages, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests. It's a place of both danger and opportunity. So Havlavan is the area where we're at right now. The Great Realm to spend the rest of the summer. Or a Great Realm. Actually, I'd prefer to keep it that way, says Tulia. The less you tell us, the smaller chance that the commanders will send us here again. There's bitterness in her brief laugh. I'm fine with a soldier's life, you know. I just hope to find an outpost where I won't have to bid farewell to most people I know. I'm gonna keep to myself. Again, because she chose the life of a soldier. I chose the life of a roadwarden. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? We should ask about the peninsula. So this is essentially like you fact-finding, and you're going to maybe need to take some notes external to the game. Write them on your phone, or put them on a Word doc or a notepad or something like that on your PC when you're playing the game. It's very relevant for you to be somewhat invested in the highlighted items that you see here. What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you will be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would say 3-4 days. When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Havlavan officials to keep in touch with the coastal villages, collect taxes, move soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast such as this one is like filling the ocean's depths with coins. Because the rocks, and they can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from shore, the boats can't get any closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, Pelt of the North, they're happy to trade and to play dice. So this is where you want to start making sure you're understanding the dialogue and reading. These are important bits of information. Everything in this game, it's not to make you overanalyze things and get you super anxious about the game. It's more to get you invested in the game and the characters that you meet and the people that in the story that you're essentially helping write out. Why not just stay on one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post. And well, he turns to Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Leto. But are you a devout soul? So now we're kind of picking our affinity. There's several different ways you can play it. You have the pagan religion, you have the universal, United Church. There's a more spiritual group also called the Order of Truth, and then there's we'll say the Value of Life and Community. This one's the Fellowship. It's more of you believe in magic and the soul and the virtues of people, but you're also we'll say allowing people to worship in their own freedom of what they might feel is the right way to worship the nature of the world. That's the best way I can say it, and that may not even be a good way of translating it, because you have the pagan religion, which is kind of we'll say these two are tangentially related, where you have a a strong connection with nature and the spirits. But this one is also, you're small, you're from a small village, and you have an understanding of what the soul is and what magic is. That's the lifeblood of the world. But you still allow people to worship in their own ways as much as this one here. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous. This takes that a step further, and the story divulges what that is as you get more into it, because a lot of people will interact with you again based on your faith and what options you select. So I'm going to actually let's go with the bottom one. Let's go with the pagan one. I have a strong connection to nature and spirits and follow the path of my ancestors. Some of my beliefs may be considered sinister and treacherous by the city folk. You better call me a pagan. And then you can also, just be, I'm an atheist. A pagan roadwarden? The man scratches his head without the slightest subtlety. Now I'm sure we can have a conversation. We're civilized people. The woman clears her throat. I'm from the United Church, but I'm not a priest or anything, and definitely not a zealot. An awkward pause. The United Church has spilled the blood of countless pagan tribes, making it clear that who's not with them is against them. Your family shared gruesome stories about the atrocities committed by the priests against your ancestors. So, again, this is framing your story. And I will just leave it at that. And I'm going to say I'm not looking for squabbles. The people here are disquieted. Every few words she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials here. She starts to draw lines with her index fingers, as if she pointing to an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads, like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village in a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship. They do crazy stuff, her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down the trees and dig in the soil. Once I saw it, I begged to never return there. So, again, there's different religions at war that you have to navigate as well. You've heard tales such as this one since you were a child. If an isolated settlement managed to survive without the city's influence, its custom and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous situations they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their river of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to humankind. You were able to speak with these necromancers. How about the East? We'll go down this path a little bit more so you guys can see the world building that goes on in this. You can see why we were not eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckled. Maybe there be more welcoming to a roadwarden. The roads are dangerous, with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're headed to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tulia nods. Pelt of the North is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeeper or the guards. Ask them about the road. How about the East? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There were hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but we didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Any monsters worth mentioning? We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, trents, large cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mouflon eaters, griffins, but we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with the most mounts. Tulia glances at her companion, though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them and ride fast. Just count on luck. That's all I need to know. All right, and then let's ask about the previous Roadwarden. Tulia takes a breath. Aren't you a little bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him in almost half a year. The soldier speaks for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up in the early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife without looking at you. I don't remember his voice, always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Astrion never gets bored. Tulia lets out a jokeless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone is keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him or his saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer road wardens often use four-legged meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since their hatching, but, unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left a message. Neither of us had any insight into his dealings, said Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. They also took a look at Asterian's stuff. Wait. She raises her open palms. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Havalan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, a decent bow, some potions, quite a treasure. She glances at you, but I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So we have to find out what happens in exchange for the stuff. Here's the catch. She dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask the commanders for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs in resignation. We are meant to stay until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll be back to Havlaven together. You think about your real mission, where you were planning to return to Havlaven in the early fall. Anyways, if he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy with me taking all his possessions. And so now we have a new journal entry, and the journal entry starts filling up. So I think I'm going to call the video here, because there's a few more dialogue options and a few more text cues that I want to show you guys from this very opening set, and it's important. You guys need to see this. This is the world building. This is the character building for yourself, as well as the world you're going to form these relationships with. So this was Busy Gamer Dad showing you Roadwarden, a wonderful text novel game with some RPG elements sprinkled into it. I can't wait to go through the other two videos with you guys. Hopefully you stick around for it. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do a longer playthrough of it, because I would be happy to. This game is a really awesome game that I think is a little bit undersold and maybe snuck by a few people. So I'll have the description for it, and also have a Steam link for you guys should you want to pick that up for yourselves. Until the next video, have some good luck. Have some fun out there. Later.